What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. We did the pregame show before the game, and now it's time for the positive vibes, the good energy postgame show. You guys might like it when we get all frustrated, we get all angry, but the Baltimore Ravens defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-14. Joshua, how you feeling about this game, man?
Oh, man, listen, let me tell you, I'm feeling pretty good about this game. I love the fact that we did come out there and handle business. I mean, I said in the pregame show, let the defense go out there first, set the tone. Then the offense need to let it go, get the ball rolling. That's exactly what we did. I will say that second half, it did seem like that we let up off the gas. I don't like that. These are the type of games, these are the type of teams that we cannot do at all. So, I'm glad that we were able to secure the win. I did see some little things that, that can always get cleaned up. George Pickens is George Pickens. There was some little bit of miscommunication in the secondary. Outside of that, man, they played a hard-fought game. It was AFC North rivalry. We got 2 out of the 3 games. Other than that, man, hey, let's keep on rolling. Everybody need to rest up, especially Lamar.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that we had concerns about, not necessarily worried about, but it's just like, okay, the Ravens have started slow in the playoffs. The Steelers play them pretty well. It's going to be really physical. And they went out there and for the first time in Lamar's career, dominant first half in the playoffs, dominant first quarter in the playoffs. They went out there and they played bully ball, which if you said, whatever the date was, January 20th, 2024, you said, okay, hey, the next playoff game the Baltimore Ravens have, 1, they got Derrick Henry, but 2, they ran the ball all over the Pittsburgh Steelers and just bullied them. I'd be like, oh, damn. They changed like that? Like, they did that for once? I would never have expected that. And even watching the Ravens in so many games this year, not all of them, it felt like they would abandon the run. They would they would try and get too cute. I thought they were just the right amount of cute with their play calling. Now, I didn't love all the play calling. Obviously, there's things that we get frustrated about. I would have loved to see him go for it on that 4th down, on 4th and 1 coming in to the third quarter. But overall, they played bully ball with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and not many teams in NFL history can go out there and say that they did that. And Derrick Henry, I just want to say, thank you, Derrick Henry, for not playing against us in the playoffs, because it feels great to watch him. Feels absolutely incredible to watch him. And what we say, Joshua, what happens if he gets 20 carries?
Hey, man, I think collectively as an offensive thing, I think we had 48, 49 carries. He carried a load of about 20 plus. I mean, hey, we can get this all the way into the Super Bowl, man. Listen, watch out. I don't care how rested Kansas City is. I'm looking forward to seeing, these next matchups against, Denver and Buffalo. I know everybody's talking about they want Buffalo. I know people talking about, Denver. Man, listen, whoever we got to play, strap up. They put their pants on the same way that my guys do. And I'm taking my guys every damn time to come out with a win. And I trust that these guys are going to make things happen.
It's the way that it happened. I mean, I think this game plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a game plan you can roll out against every team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. With the roster the Ravens have, you can always try and just say, hey, we're going to bully you. And that's what they did, and they succeeded at doing it. They went against the best pass rusher they're going to face all of this, postseason. They went against, one of the best coaches that they're going to face this entire offseason. Obviously, Andy Reid's still out there. There's still some good coaches in there. But just one of the best defenses that they're going to face in this postseason. So, and they were able to move the ball pretty well. And, I felt like that first drive, there were 2 tone-setting drives, I guess. The first touchdown drive and the second touchdown drive. The first touchdown drive, almost all runs. But then they came out with, I saw that Wildcat, and I was like, oh man, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I was like, okay, I liked the Wildcat. I don't love Wildcat when it's 4th and 2, and you're like, okay, this is just weird. But I like Wildcat in situations where you're like, okay, if it gets messed up because obviously Derrick Henry's not the primary, he's not used to snapping the ball to himself. Like, okay, I'm good with that. And they went out there and they used Lamar as a decoy, faked the handoff to Lamar. Derrick Henry takes up the middle and gives a little one of them stiff arms to Minka Fitzpatrick. And then the next touchdown drive, what was it, 13 plays?
13 runs,
Derrick Henry touchdown. Oh, my God. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Like, when we brought Derrick Henry in, John Harbaugh, brother, I'm calling him John Harbaugh. I think that was a good game. I'm calling him John. I'm not calling him brother Jim because Jim looked bad today. Brother and John was bad today. But he's like, we didn't bring Derrick Henry in here to, run the ball 20 times, 30 times in the game. I think he was lying. I'm not going to lie. 26 carries, 7.2 average, 2 touchdowns. Fantastic. Ooh. Man, KJ's trying to get negative already. He's trying to get negative already. Come on.
KJ, how much more can we say? I mean, he's literally getting all his reps in on the defensive side in his NFL career. He literally had 1 year of playing corner at SMU. That's how he got drafted. And he did decent. Then we bring him to the NFL. We drafted him, we took a risk on a developmental player again. And he out of his, he's been with us at least 4 years.
I think this is his 4th year. Because it's the last year on his rookie deal, I think.
Okay, he's only had, in my opinion, 1 solid, strong year at corner. Safety, we knew he was a hard-hitting guy. He didn't mind tackling. That's one thing he's good at doing. I'll give him that. But he has not truly progressed into a defensive guy. I don't know where the ball skills to win. I don't know where the awareness has gone, but he's out there, man. He's out there. I mean, and right now we don't have nobody else to step up behind him unless they've magically put TJ Tampa out there and he just plays lights out in the next couple of playoff games. I mean, hey, this is the guy. We all have weak links, some chinks in our armor. It's all about how you disguise it at this point.
Yeah. And, I want to have more positive discussions at the start of stream, so I kind of switch the topic. Talking about Keaton Mitchell. This isn't a negative thing on Keaton Mitchell. I think the reason Keaton Mitchell's not being used is because Derrick Henry is a damn good football player. Like, honestly, like as good as Keaton Mitchell is, as explosive as he can be, Derrick Henry is as explosive. Like, Derrick Henry's hitting the same hole. Now, there could be situations where we try and get him the ball on the outside. But what I did like, I talked about it in the, opener, like the one thing replacing Zay Flowers, and I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do, is kind of that jet sweep game. Like, who's going to be doing it? I thought it might be Keaton Mitchell. It ended up being Sims had the jet sweep 18 yards. And honestly, I think it not being Zay Flowers probably helped on the play because I think teams are way more worried about Zay Flowers. So a guy might, shift outside. But they were like, ain't no damn Steven Sims like running the ball in the playoffs for the Ravens. Like, that's not happening.
Listen, 18 yards. Even seeing Anthony Miller out there on the field, like, hold on now. What's going on?
I was like, preseason? Like, is this preseason Ravens offense? Well, we had Lamar, and that's the difference.
I mean, hey, listen, we said it, though. A lot of guys are going to step up on this opposite side of the ball, with Zay not being available. I mean, JJ, listen. Between Henry's stiff arm and Big Zay's stiff arm, I don't know who had more aura because Big Zay's stiff arm was smooth. I mean, he connected with the head and just got him out the way. Henry, he hit him. He hit Minka. And, Minka just went, flying back. I mean, it's fun seeing these things, man. It's fun seeing these guys, actually, contribute. And McConnell, I love the fact that Monk and whoever, they finally been listening to us about putting Big Zay in the slot, letting him play wide receiver, man. It was a beautiful sight to see, man. I mean, he just looks so natural, doing his thing, being available. And I mean, he's going to be a guy that plays a big key in the offense for years to come, even in this playoff run. And I love to see how he continues to grow.
And again, shout out to Steve-O bringing this up. He's faced the two best pass rushers in the NFL in back-to-back weeks. J.J. Watt, Myles Garrett. He's looked pretty good, goes up to Myles Garrett. Now, this kind of reminds me of, there's a clip of I can't remember who the NBA player is, but I cannot remember exactly who it was. But some guy in the 90s, and he's like, I was a big trash talker, but except against one guy. It's like, I go against Michael Jordan. That's Mr. Jordan. I go up there and I'm like, good shot, Mike. I'm not trying to get him upset. Because if I get him upset, he's gonna bust my ass. So Roger Rosengarten goes, excuse me, Mr. Garrett, can I please have your jersey? I know I'm not anybody special, please. And he's like, Myles Garrett's like, I mean, man, he's like, you doing good. He's like, I'm not you're not a nobody. I feel like that might be one of those situations where he's trying not to talk trash to these top tier guys. And the top tier guys are like, dude, you're not ass. You're good at football.
You're playing good ball for sure.
Done a really good job. And Ronnie's did a good job. Except for them false starts.
We had two tonight.
Start over there. Yeah.
Man. We only had 2, 3. We didn't have more than 4 or 3 penalties tonight. I think we did pretty good.
3 false starts.
Okay.
And that honestly might have been it.
Yeah, no, I don't remember no DPIs, no OPIs. I don't remember no holding. Yeah, I think that might have been the lowest.
3 penalties, 14 yards, because one of them was at the 8-yard line. False start, so it's half to the distance. Big time. We'd love to see that.
Yeah, that's going to be crucial. It's going to be crucial down the run.
And also, players' health is also going to be huge. Zay Flowers, we did not need Zay Flowers in this game. But also, the passing game, it was efficient. It was effective. But it wasn't lethal like it has been with Zay Flowers in that lineup. Yeah. So, obviously, Zay Flowers, I think is going to be huge. I think we, not necessarily if we don't have Zay, we can't win a game. But if we're going to win the Super Bowl, Zay Flowers has got to be a part of that, because there will be games where Derrick Henry isn't just running over everybody. And Lamar Jackson, I made a video this week and I said, you know what I don't want to see? I don't want to see Lamar Jackson keep it on 5 straight zone reads to start the game. I said that in a video. I'm like, I hope he doesn't do that, because that means he's going to be taking all these hits. And it's just keep. I'm like, man, he's got 5 straight runs.
Yeah.
And that was bags hurting. But overall, was very good. Bateman, great touchdown. Had some good catches. Overall, it was a very efficient game from this offense. And I think they recognized they didn't expect the Steelers to score a ton of points. So they felt like controlling the clock and just trying to, run over them was going to just slow the game down and be more effective for the Ravens. Whereas if they were playing a team like a Kansas City or a Buffalo or a Houston, where you're like, hey, this team kind of has an explosive offense, they can have a lot of big plays. They may try and be a little more explosive on offense, a little bit less running. But again, I'm totally fine with the running. We wanted to see them run the ball. They ran it 50 times. Might have been a little bit too much, but I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
I mean, when it comes to that TOP, man, these are the times where we truly have to control it, man. And for the simple fact that we was able to control it, we was able to demand the offense the way we did. Like I said, the only thing I did not agree with is that we did kind of let up on the gas. in the beginning of that second half, man. And, against certain teams like Buffalo Bills, even Houston Texans, hell, especially Kansas City, you had to get points regardless if it's 7 or 2. You had to get points, and it cannot let up on these other teams that we will be facing down the road. So, I mean, it's good to beat up on the big brother because, I mean, for years, Steelers have been the big brother to the Ravens. The Steelers have been, having Lamar's number. This is some of the best football Lamar Jackson and this team has been playing against a Steelers team. Shout out to that defense, getting to Russell Wilson, making him uneasy. Seeing Adafio Way, Nnamdi Madubuike, those guys come alive. Kyle Van Noy, even seeing Marlon Humphrey, I was hoping that he was going to get a strip sack on Russell Wilson, the way he kept on flying in, man. I mean, you just see these guys on all cylinders. And shout out to big Darius Washington, man. Maybe the smallest guy on the field, but the biggest heart out there, and not scared to knock a dude out. I love that for him. I love the fact that he's a Raven. Like I said, I hope they don't try to get him a big contract or let him walk. But he deserves to still be in this facility for sure.
And I put a poll in the chat asking who the MVP was in this game, Lamar or Henry. Boyd says both. Boyd, you got to pick one. Pick one. No diplomatic answers. This is the TTB poll community that you're not running for president, buddy. Pick a guy. But one thing in this game that was very noticeable in the first half, not as much in the second half because we were running the ball so often, but Lamar extending the plays, but intelligently, was crucial. That drive to end the first half was just flawless execution on his part. A couple of plays, he just sat in the pocket, hit his guy. And then a couple of plays, rolls out to the right and, is able to make a play. And then, 11 seconds left, snap, juke, step up, boom, Justice Hill catches it, runs in, needed 4 yards, gets in wide open. And you're like, that's why separation stats don't matter. Okay, this is a huge part of the MVP. Lamar's not the MVP because separation. Bro, yeah, yep, Justice Hill, 9 yards of separation on that play. Lamar's not that good because his guys just get wide open. It's well, yeah, when you evade guys for 6 seconds and then your running back checks and releases, yeah, sure. But that play was created entirely by Lamar Jackson, creating space, creating plays. He did end up taking, I think, 1, maybe 2 sacks, but it was just a game where it just felt like every single time Lamar Jackson was under center in the backfield, he was calm, he was cool, he was collected. It was the first playoff game we've ever seen that. There was not an instance where it was oh, it looks like he's frustrated out there. Nope, he went back there. I mean, he got kind of frustrated when people started chanting MVP. He's like, man, he's like, damn, we need this first down. Settle down here.
I was just about to say that. That was the only time he got frustrated, man. Once again, man, it's good to see him out there doing his thing, feeling comfortable, he's showing the level of maturity, really getting to the groove of just being a franchise QB, man. Mm-hmm. We love to see it.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat, if anybody wants to like the stream, does help out the stream, that would be appreciated. It's free. I don't like that I said that. I feel like such a sellout saying that. I'm like, never mind. Man. Don't like the stream anymore because that was dumb. I should not have done that. I shouldn't have been saying that. Instead, we're going to talk about that second half defense. The third quarter defense, more specifically. Kyle Hamilton trying to tell Brandon Stevens something. I don't know exactly what it was. Now, I'm thinking that it was him saying, you watch over the top. If he breaks, I got him. Because when you watch the play, Kyle Hamilton kind of sits a little bit up. thinking that if it is a post route or if it is a dig or if it's an out route, Kyle Hamilton would break on it because he's kind of scooting up. He's getting ready to run at it. And instead, Brandon Stevens, he's playing outside leverage. He's not playing over the top. And when he's playing outside leverage, he's thinking Kyle Hamilton's over the top. But Kyle Hamilton was, again, this is speculation. We don't know exactly what the play call was. Kyle Hamilton's saying, like, no, like, I wasn't supposed to be there. And, that's an error that you can't be making against better teams, right? You go against CJ Stroud and you're one-on-one with Nico Collins and you make that mistake, touchdown, right? You're playing against the Bills. Josh Allen's hitting whoever that receiver is downfield. And we know those teams, they're going to score more touchdowns, right? It's not like the Steelers where you're pretty comfortable. Like if you hold the Steelers to 14 points, that's like, okay, yeah, you're fine. But this game, it was like, if the Ravens score 20, they're probably winning. Like that's the rule against the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. So, having like one play bite you, not too bad. And then the Nate Wiggins play, I think he was thinking that he had a little bit more of a top, missed the press. He had the speed, but then Darius just kind of like missed the tackle. Which again, unfortunate, but that's an error that can be fixed, mitigated. You just got to have better communication in that secondary. And I know Kyle Hamilton and Brandon Stevens, that's the first time that's happened in months where like Brandon Stevens thought he had over the top help and he didn't.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, like you said, there was a couple things, they finally started getting going. And outside of that, I mean, I feel like if Darius Washington would have connected on that hit, I think he could have messed around and jarred the ball out of Pickens. Even with the over the top help, I mean, Brandon Stevens got a man up, pull his tired shoes up, play a football like a man, and it's rough because you saw him one year where he could have been like a Pro Bowl. There it is.
That's a good picture.
Absolutely.
I saw that on Twitter. I felt like people needed to see it.
Oh man, for them to say he has family now is crazy work. But at this point, I want them to just rest up, ice up, watch these games tomorrow. Unfortunately, and see who we got to play, man. I'm ready to go move forward to our next opponent. Celebrate tonight, but rest up and get ready for the following week because the job ain't done. The job is not done.
Yeah, and the benefit is this whole team knows that. I said in one of the videos I made earlier this week, right? Like this reminds me a lot of 2012, where they just lost in the AFC Championship. They come back and they know that they have to they know what they need to do to get back to that AFC Championship game, but also that the AFC Championship game, that's not the Super Bowl. Like they know that they have to lock in. They know what it takes to win consecutive playoff games. They know what it takes to go all the way. Now it just comes down to execution. So very excited to see, how they respond next week, whether they'll either play the Texans they'll play the Texans at home or they will play the Bills in Buffalo. Either way, that game will be on Sunday. And I assume that it'll be Sunday night because it's Lamar Jackson. But we'll find out. I guess if the Rams have a game, if the Rams make it. Oh wait, no, but they won't even play in LA. So never mind. Trying to think of is there a West Coast team that could host a game? Because then they'll be the night game, but I don't think there is. I think it's Eagles will host or Bucks could host. They're all East Coast. The Rams will play on the road. So I assume Sunday Night Football will be the Ravens' next game, which again, prime time. That's my favorite. That's everybody's favorite time to watch football. Night game,
honestly,
weather.
Lamar needs that. Lamar needs that in prime time, especially against Josh Allen again.
Yeah, get that revenge.
Yeah,
Remember, he didn't even finish that game. Lamar Jackson was out. He got a concussion in that game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting. Marlon not playing out there has really been rejuvenated this year. Yeah, like Marlon Humphrey is a fantastic slot corner. And the reason why he is one, he's always been very good in coverage, but he's also a good tackler. He's physical. He can play on the tight end. He can play on the running back. He can play on the wide receiver. But the other thing is he can blitz. He didn't get a sack today, but he made multiple plays coming off the edge where he's able to get that pressure and forces Russell Wilson to step up into the pocket. One of them, I believe, caused a Michael Pierce sack. Pierce. Good couple of weeks in a row. I'd like to see I don't know what he could do next to him. Maybe block a kick. I don't know what he can do to add to the resume. Strip, force a fumble. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he does. But we didn't need Michael Pierce very much today because they were not running the ball. I think they had like 10 rushes for like 20 yards. A couple of them were scrambles too that went nowhere. Like, that's the one thing about this Ravens defense is they are so good against the run, which helps against these teams like the Steelers and honestly teams like every team in the AFC at this point. Like, because like the Bengals aren't like that. Like the Bengals don't really want to run the ball. Yeah. The Bengals want to drop back and like just sling it. But all the teams left in the AFC, like they want to run the ball first. Even the Chiefs with Pacheco or Kareem Hunt, they want to run the ball. Having that run defense and forcing these second and longs or third and longs, like the Ravens might not get to stop every time, but it just creates those opportunities for one play to be made. You force that one incompletion. You get that one pressure. You have that one drop by the offensive player and it compounds and all of a sudden you get that stop right away.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you said it. When it comes down to playoff football, you need a strong running game. I mean, you got to think about these teams that's still in on the AFC side. With the Houston Texans, you got Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce. That's a two-headed monster. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, those two guys, especially Isaiah Pacheco, I got to give him his respect. That man runs like Derrick Henry. He runs hard. He just don't gives up. He just keeps on fighting. Buffalo Bills, who they have, Dalvin Cook's little brother. I don't know who is Frank Gore Jr.
They got Ray Davis as the backup.
Oh, out of Memphis. Okay. Did he go to Kentucky or Memphis?
I think it was Kentucky.
Okay.
Blue Cats.
Okay. All right. I knew I was right with something at least. But either way, they all got strong running games, and in order to have an even better passing game, you have to have a strong run game. And in order for defenses to win, you have to take out what teams are good at. And if you playing against a team that is just about as good as a running team, you have to force them to try to beat you in other forms of fashion. And I feel like if the Ravens defense can continuously come out and play strongly for all 4 quarters and force a team to stop the run and make them pass on us, I think we win every game. And especially with the way we take up TOP and also the way our offense performs, we have a offense that can literally take up 10 minutes of clock, but also I believe we can score just as quickly as any other team.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that we lost. I think this is the most explosive team the Baltimore Ravens have had, probably ever. But when you're looking at the last 3 years or so, 4 years, really just the Lamar Jackson era, since that first MVP, it was like, okay, they're really good. Like they control the clock, but like, man, they just don't really have that vertical threat. Like they're just not an explosive team. 2019, that was the most explosive Ravens offense of all time. And it wasn't, I mean, like Hollywood was going deep, Lamar was hitting him, but really it was just that run game. Like that run game was so explosive. And it was like, okay, that was something that the Ravens desperately missed in the postseason. The next like 3 postseasons that they had, because they only been to the postseason 3 times since 2019. excluding this year, it was like, yeah, they're good at running the football, but as soon as they like, it felt like, oh, you need to like turn the tide in the game or like get a big play. It was like, that's not really happening. Like they're going to get 6 yards, 100%, but it's really hard on the road to like silence the crowd on like 6 straight 5-yard runs. Like, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like Derrick Henry can just pop it 60 yards, touchdown, right? Like, oh, you hit Zay again, like that Broncos game, right? The Ravens are just trying to get a field goal. Zay Flowers crosser, shimmy up the right sideline, touchdown. And you're like, yo, like they're explosive. Like, wow. This game, they ran the ball 50 times in this game. But I think that the Steelers fans were like, man, they're explosive. Why? Derrick Henry Wildcat, 20+ yard run, hits the stiff arm. Lamar Jackson hits Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely on these like crossing routes. They get big yards. And then I want to say it was 3rd and 12. Rashad Bateman touchdown in the back of the end zone. It was like a 15 to 20 yard touchdown pass. And it was at the back of the end zone. So really it was like a 25 to 30 air yard pass, I want to say.
Yeah.
Boom. Like those are all things that are like, okay, that's explosive. Then you get to the second half. Lamar Jackson hits him with the super zone read. Like him and Derrick Henry took 3 steps together. I'm like, dude, are they doing like, they doing the waltz or something? Like he's taking them over here. And then all the linebackers, you can see it. All the linebackers shift left because they're like, Lamar's definitely keeping it. Like he's held onto the ball. And then all of a sudden it's like Lamar doesn't have it as they come around the edge. And Derrick Henry goes back in the middle. And it's just like all the backers followed Lamar. And Derrick Henry, 40 yards, touchdown. That's the explosiveness that we've been missing. And, we didn't even have Zay Flowers today, and we were still able to be explosive in the run game. With Zay Flowers, it's even more so. But this game, I think, does prepare us well for Buffalo. I'm assuming we're playing Buffalo because Buffalo will be windy. This game, we didn't have to throw the ball a lot, but there wasn't a lot of wind. Buffalo, there will probably be a lot of wind. So it'll be hard to throw the ball, but the Ravens just showed like they can bust your ass if they throw the ball. Like it's scarier to face a run-only Ravens team than a team that is throwing the ball. You're like yeah, they're good at throwing the ball. It's like, but damn, when they run it 50 times, it's like, oh man, I got tackled 22 again.
Yeah, man.
Oh no.
Yeah. And a running back like that can wear down any defense. But McConnell, TTV family, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've been up all day. I'm trying to stay with y'all. I don't want my lady to get mad at me no more than she already is. I love y'all guys. Y'all stay safe out here. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and comment. And share this to your friend, your best friend, your mama, and your mama's best friend. We love you. I love y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Everyone else,
Right,
I'm going to stay streaming for a little bit longer, probably. So, keep the questions coming. Keep the takes coming. Let's see here. Sorry, putting in the background. But, one of the big things in this game, Shante, I think Shante is how you pronounce that, Holland, is bringing up is this was against a rival. And you look at the teams that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be playing, they're all going to be rival, assumed. Like maybe I don't think the Texans are a rival, but like if the Texans somehow play the Ravens, not a huge rivalry. But Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, rivalry. Both coming out in the same class, both vying for MVP this year, were vying for first team All-Pro. Like that's a rivalry. Then, presumably, Patrick Mahomes just lost to him in the AFC Championship last year. Are the only 2 quarterbacks as it stands right now that have MVPs in the playoffs still. Like both 2-time MVPs. Hopefully Lamar 3-time MVP. We'll get to that later. But rivalry. Like the Chiefs Ravens has been a rivalry. They've played each other essentially every year since Lamar Jackson joined the team, and almost all of them have been very good games. Chiefs have won the majority of them, almost all of them, but I would say it's still a rivalry. So that atmosphere, that rivalry atmosphere, combined with the playoff atmosphere, is the most electric that NFL football can get. as good as Super Bowls are, the atmosphere in the stadium is nowhere near a rivalry playoff game in conference, because you're playing in Kansas City or you're playing in Baltimore or in Buffalo against a rival. These fans hate the other team's fans. They hate the other team, and they're just much more aggressive about it. And so that atmosphere for the next 2 games is going to be something to watch, because when you get to the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl has become extremely expensive. It's very difficult to go. A lot of just normal football fans, like, they might not be a fan of the team. They go because it's the Super Bowl and they want to go, and they have the money. So, like, it's not as great. Like, obviously it's a bigger game, but the atmosphere in rivalry playoff games, biggest in football. And so these next 2, they're probably going to be on par with what we just saw in Ravens Steelers, if not more so, because we're farther in the playoffs. So big things are going to be happening. Ravens went jumbo quite a bit with Josh Jones in this game. You think that continues throughout the playoffs? I could see it. They love going jumbo, and it just kind of depends on who they're playing, right? If they're playing a Bills team that is struggling to stop the run, they'll definitely go jumbo. I don't see them necessarily going jumbo too much against the Chiefs, because I think against the Chiefs, you don't want to go jumbo. Like, honestly, I think it's probably better to split them out wide and then do some more RPO sort of things and zone reads. But against the Bills, I think jumbo could definitely be utilized. I think against the Texans, it could be utilized. So, like, I don't mind the jumbo. I do mind the jumbo when it's like I don't want to go jumbo on 2nd and 1. I'd rather go zone read or like hard play action, and or just shot play or something like that. I'd prefer to do that. But again, a lot of different options. There were a couple play calls that I didn't love in this game. One of them was, it was like Derrick Henry came in, he ran the ball. I don't think he really got anything. It was like 2nd and 10, maybe 2nd and 11 or 2nd and 9. But like, we bring Justice Hill in and we go under center with Patrick Ricard in like a strong formation. Ricard motions off. And then they run, like, I think it was a counter. And to Justice Hill, like, up the middle. It's like, what? Like, it's 2nd and 9. Like, if you want to run Derrick Henry counter, all right. Like, still, like, 2nd and 9 to be going power, or not, they didn't run power, but going into like kind of a bigger power formation. It's without Derrick Henry, I don't love that. Wherein you can go out and you can run zone read if you want to run the ball. Justice Hill didn't end up getting anything. It goes to like 3rd and 8 or something. Can't remember if the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens ended up picking it up either. So, like, that was a little bit frustrating. That was really the only play call I didn't like. I wanted us to go for it on 4th down earlier in the game. But one thing I did love, we went for it later in the game. And we Mark Andrews got it. The QB sneak, the Andrews push. I don't know if it doesn't have a nickname, but that play worked, and we drew 12 men on the defense. I'd love to see the Ravens just line up for it. Like, who cares if you take a 5-yard penalty? Like, line up for it, try and get them off sides, and if you like the look, snap it. If they're running guys onto the field, snap it. But that was kind of really the only 2 things that I was a little bit frustrated with in this game. I felt like they got a little bit early in the 3rd quarter. I was like, we're a little bit too run heavy, but it was working. So when we got the ball back in like the 4th quarter, we threw a little bit more and we're able to move the ball, and then obviously closed out the game. It took a while, but Bateman finally delivered this year. Very happy for the dude. Bateman's been on a tear this last half of the season. He's been a touchdown machine. And it's great to see, because of the inconsistencies he's had in his career, the doubt that I know Ravens fans have placed upon him. And, he mentally, that's tough to battle through, especially with the injuries that he's had. Just, kind of being like, not like major injuries, but just like ticky-tack injuries where it's like, oh, he misses a practice here, misses a week here, misses 2 weeks here. Now it's like he's been, knock on wood, like he's been relatively healthy, and he's been, showing out with Lamar Jackson. He's been playing excellent football. Lamar Jackson is now showing more and more faith in him. Even after we have a play where he kind of stops a drag route, Lamar throws a pick to Minka. Like, Bateman's route running, his prowess, his specialty really coming into the league, and his specialty now has always been route running, and that shows in the red zone. JJ, 100%. Like, that is where he's getting open, and that's where Lamar's looking for him, because Lamar knows, like, if I buy time, like, I'm finding Bateman. I know he's going to get open on that crosser. Like, Bateman has sneaky speed. Like, he's known as like a route technician, but he's quick. He's fast. So he gets that inside step, and it's over for that defensive back. We saw it with Dante Jackson. Dante Jackson's a very fast corner. He's not a great corner, but he has speed, and Bateman is just separating from him so well. So, to the Josh Allen MVP fans, yes, Rashad Bateman, very good at separating. Use it. Lamar shouldn't win MVP because of it. Like, I mean, that's really the only guy in this game that was separating. Everyone else, it was like, Lamar's making good throws. That Isaiah Likely throw on third down on that crosser, very good throw. And then Likely catches it and like palms it one hand. He's just holding it out in front of him, getting extra yards. Don't love him holding the ball out like that, like Walter Payton style. Walter Payton had like 84 fumbles in his career. It was like an absurd number. But Rashad Bateman has been balling. And it's great to see, because on a team where you don't know who is scoring that touchdown or even how that touchdown is happening, having this amount of weapons is very valuable, because you don't know if it's going to be a check down to Justice Hill, because he's scored a bunch in the red zone on checkdowns. It could be Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson could run it in. Mark Andrews, red zone monster, most touchdowns in Ravens history. Isaiah Likely has been very good in the red zone. And then Bateman has been dominating in the red zone. So it's like that's why Lamar Jackson had, 44 touchdowns, was because they can do it all. You can't just say, we're not going to let them throw for a touchdown, because they can throw it to literally 5 players that can all score. And teams are more likely to say, we're not letting Derrick Henry score. And they fail, but nope, we're going to stack the box. We're going to make you throw. And then they do. And then Lamar Jackson just throws a good throw, because Lamar Jackson's a good thrower of the football. Lamar Jackson can pass. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback. Like, I don't know how people still don't recognize that, but, he is. Mike says, I was kind of excited for a Harbaugh rematch, but Herbert had an abysmal game today. I know a lot of people want to see the Bills. I'm good with playing the Broncos, lol. We cannot play the Broncos. The Broncos would have to win and then beat the Chiefs, and then the Ravens would have to beat the Texans. So unlikely that we play the Broncos. But, overall, I'm fine with playing either the Broncos or I'm fine with playing the Bills, or I'm fine with playing the Texans. Not saying they're both easy wins or anything like that, but I'm very confident in this team. And I think, if you're going to win the Super Bowl, you got to beat the best teams, right? You're going to have to beat Allen or Mahomes. You're going to have to beat the Lions or the Eagles or one of those top NFC teams. No one's ever going to win the Super Bowl not playing good football teams. The Steelers are on a rough patch. And thank you, Jonathan, so much for the super chat. It says King Henry ranked all day butts. Facts. But you're not going to win the Super Bowl just playing scrubs. It's never happened in the history of football. You always are going to have to go out there. Now, it doesn't always have to be the most strenuous schedule in NFL history, right? I think when the Ravens won in 2012, that was a wild schedule. You got to play at Denver against Peyton Manning, and then you got to play at Foxborough against Tom Brady. That's pretty wild. That's pretty rare to do, especially when your quarterback is Joe Flacco. But your quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson and this Baltimore Ravens team, I've said it all year, when they play their best game, they will beat any other team's best game. I think that's 100% true. I don't this team when they play really well. I think no one's within 20 points. But again, when other teams play really well, the Ravens are usually still in it. They'll play great games. Example, the Bengals games this year. The Bengals played out of their mind. They played fantastic. The Ravens didn't play great. But Lamar Jackson keeps them in it. Lamar Jackson wins it at the end. The Ravens need to make sure they play good fundamental football. If they play a great game against whoever, I have full confidence in them winning. So, I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. I'm excited for the games, just as a fan, football fan, watching them. But I'm not watching these games with the thought process of, I really think we match up better against the Texans or match up better against the Bills. I want Lamar to beat Josh Allen, to prove he's the MVP. Like, I'm not watching with any of those narratives. I want to watch good football. I want to see the best teams win. And I'm really excited to see what happens. God Emperor Ether says, Bills offense can score points. Conservative play calling when up keeps teams around. I definitely agree with that. Joshua brought it up, but this team historically has struggled with some leads in the past. And that's a lot of time been because they do take their foot off the gas pedal. However, I think this game was a little bit different because what got them the lead was running the football. Like, that's how they did. Like, their second touchdown drive, they ran the ball 13 times in a row and scored. So I don't necessarily see it being a situation where, oh man, they shouldn't have run the ball. Like, I think they could have been a little bit more aggressive, had a little bit more pass attempts. But again, like, when running the football down the team's throat is what got you there, I think continuing to do it and maybe mixing in a couple of passes, like, that's what they should do. So if they're playing the Bills, like they played the Bills obviously earlier in the year, and Derrick Henry, first play, gone, touchdown. The Ravens got up and like they kind of kept the same mentality the entire game. They ended up winning like 35-10 because they, like, overall, it felt like they were in control the entire time because they kept the same mentality. I think they did that again today. If they get up against the Chiefs or the Bills or the Texans because they're throwing the ball and Zay Flowers is killing it, I don't want them to all of a sudden just be like, all right, now just pound the rock in the second half and don't like worry about passing anymore. That's when we get screwed. That's when we get stopped. Mandel says, what did you think about the refs in the Texans game? How they did weird stuff to disrupt the Texans' rhythm, let alone the questionable calls. I mean, yeah, it was a weird game. But again, like, man, that was just a really poor game from the Chargers. That was Justin Herbert. I like Herbert. You guys know I got a Herbert jersey in my closet right next to me. That was the worst game I've ever seen from him. He looked so sloppy. And like, again, first half, his guys were dropping wide open passes. He hit like Will Dissly on a big third down, just like hit him in the face mask, drop. Hit Quentin Johnston a couple of times, drops. So, overall, I'm not throwing this game on the refs because, I mean, the Texans blew them out because the Texans defense was playing well. And as good as the Chargers defense played, because the Chargers defense played really well, they couldn't play really well for 4 quarters because it's almost impossible to do that against good quarterbacks. Like, you can't just shut down top-tier quarterbacks like a CJ Stroud, like a Lamar Jackson, like, Josh Allen, Mahomes, all those guys. You can't really shut down their offense. You can do great for a half. You can do a great for 3 quarters. That Chargers defense was fantastic in the first half. And the offense couldn't do anything. So, ended up, they got the loss. But overall, I think, like, the refs they weren't the cause of that loss. Bills defense isn't as good as the Steelers. That's true, but they're more opportunistic. They're very good at forcing turnovers. They're the best turnover forcing team in the league. So, that's, a big issue. And like, we can bring up the Bills' size. They are undersized. But again, when we played them, they were missing some key pieces, some key linebackers. And yeah, Greg Roman strikes again. I texted some group chats and I was like, man, it's weird watching a Greg Roman like led offense just like dropping every pass. Like, wow, that's weird. Like, because obviously that happens every time. I don't know why. Greg Roman, it's like Greg Roman slips butter on everybody's gloves before his teams play a playoff game. Like, I don't know how. Like, maybe the Denny's menu like had some leftover stuff. He meant to put syrup on, but he put butter, and none of them can catch. But like Greg Roman, I didn't even think Greg Roman called that bad of a game. I think the guys just didn't execute at all. Like, Greg Roman didn't call a great game, but the Chargers couldn't hit throws. They couldn't make open catches. Like they couldn't do anything. So yeah, except for Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey balled out. Shout out to him. June, welcome back to the streams, June. I know you're in here all the time. Says it was pretty obvious that Watt's assignment was to crash Henry on every option play, which is why Lamar torched them in the first half. If Falele makes the block on that scrape, LJ House is it. Yeah, I think that game plan makes sense because they went out there and they're like, yo, we cannot have Derrick Henry run for 250 yards. And he didn't. He ran for like 180 yards. So I guess job well done from the Pittsburgh Steelers game plan. I know James Harrison was pissed about that. I saw that he tweeted about it and he was pissed because he wanted them to light up Lamar. But here's the thing. They're both arguably the greatest ever at what they do. Running the football. Derrick Henry is arguably the greatest ever power back in the history of the NFL, or at least modern NFL, right? Like Jim Brown is probably greater all-time power back. But like you're looking at Derrick Henry, Earl Campbell, Marshawn Lynch, Jerome Bettis, OJ. Like those are the greatest ever power backs. I'm taking Derrick Henry. like that's the thing. So, and then you look at who's the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. It's Lamar. I was sending texts with my friends last year, 2 years ago. I have the text. I can pull them up at some point if somebody wants to see them. But basically I said, they were like, what would be like the best offense of all time or the most fun offense of all time to watch? And my offense was Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And then the receivers were like Calvin, Randy, and Tyreek because of the speed. And might have been Gronk at tight end. I don't remember who the tight end was. But like I was like, this is what I would want. Because that running game would be so unbelievably dominant. Nobody could stop it. And guess what? Lamar Jackson got to play with Derrick Henry. My dream came true. And it has been legitimately, truthfully, objectively, the most dominant running game the NFL has ever seen as they broke the single season yards per carry mark held by the Jim Brown Browns from like 1966. This is a team that can do whatever they want running the football. And I love the addition of the Wildcat. Again, I want to bring that up. I love the addition of the Wildcat in a non-crucial play, right? I don't love it. If it's fourth and goal from the 3, don't run Wildcat. But if it's, second and 8, go for it. Like, that's when it's dangerous. I didn't like it when Greg Roman ran it against the Texans on 4th and 1, even though it led to like a Mark Andrews 40-yard touchdown run. I didn't love it when they ran it. They might have run it against the Steelers earlier in the year, but they ran it like at the goal line on like 4th down. It's like, I don't love that. But when it's not 3rd and like 1 or 4th and 1, I love the Wildcat. Like once a game, you could run it twice, 3 times in a game. Make sure you do different things each time. But, the fake to Lamar was awesome. Bateman has to be one of the best deals in terms of value. 100%. I mean, we put him on it's like 2 years, $8 million because he wasn't eligible for the 5th-year extension. And that's an unbelievably good deal because he's lived up to it. Bateman this year, if Bateman was up for a contract this year, I think he would probably be getting $12 to $15 million a year if he were signing an extension this offseason. Like, that's how good he's been this year. I think some team would pay him that much money. But luckily, we have him under contract for next year as well. And obviously, Zay Flowers still on that rookie deal. So it's looking good for the Ravens receiving core for the foreseeable future, or at least next season and this year. He's evolved from Robin to Nightwing. I love that. Dick Grayson right there. And obviously part of the Bat family, Rashad Bateman. Fantastic reference to Deet. I love that. He's been very, very good. And it's like he's so dangerous in the red zone. He's so dangerous on 3rd down. Like we don't see Bateman on 1st down. Like, obviously, he's on the field, but like that's not where he pops up. Bateman pops up in the red zone. Bateman pops up on third down, and you're like, oh yeah, he's playing. And you're like, he made another great play. It's like he's like a sixth man in the NBA, or like the 3-point specialist in the NBA, where like I was watching, I'm an OKC fan, and Isaiah Joe went for 31 last night against the Knicks. And he's like a pure 3-point specialist. Like, he hasn't been doing much recently. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, 3 straight threes. And you're like, yo, like all of a sudden, like Bateman will just hit like a 60-yard pass, right? Or he'll get that end zone touchdown. And you're like, yes. But like, you don't see him on first down. You don't see him on second down. But he pops up on the big plays. He pops up big time. Bateman is big play bait. Like, that's what we call him. We call him that for a reason, not because he, gets 50-yard receptions every game like Tyreek Hill used to do, but because he makes the right play at the right time all the time. That's how good he's been. And that's what he was coming out of Minnesota. He's drastically improved as I try and fix my camera focus. Haha, we're good. That's what he's been his entire career. The problem was he was getting hurt, and Greg Roman was trying to use him like he was prime Deshaun Jackson. It was like, dude, he's not a deep ball guy. Like, he can go deep. But, like, dude, use him. Use him as an intermediate route runner. That's his specialty. That's why he's so good in the red zone, is because he's not like a great deep threat, but he's fantastic intermediate. 15, 20 yards down the field, that's where he thrives. Where does that work? The red zone, because that's when those deep digs work, right? That's when those corner routes work. Because there's not space to go deep, and he can get open, intermediate, over the middle almost every single time. And Lamar has recognized that, and he's found them. And June, 100%, we had the data last year. He was like the best separator in the league last year. He's one of the best again this year. And it's like, wow. Lamar Jackson saw that data and was like, damn, I got to find him, right? Like, it's kind of like the Chiefs this year. They talked about it where Mahomes was watching film in the offseason, and he was like, dang, every time I threw to Travis Kelce, Noah Gray was also open. And now Noah Gray has become a much more integral part of the Chiefs offense, because all of a sudden they like recognize, like, yo, this guy's actually kind of good. That's the same thing with Bateman. I was like, yo, this guy's like open. Remember those vids of Rashad Bateman against the Chiefs last year in the AFC Championship? And it's like, man, no one can get open. And then people were like, well, actually, if you watch the film, Bateman, it's open. And Lamar wasn't looking. I think Lamar watched that and was like, I'm throwing the bait. I'm finding him. And like Adit said, he evolved from Robin to Nightwing. One of the best comic book characters, in my opinion. Love Robin. Love Nightwing. Love Dick Grayson. I don't know how many people are comic book fans in here. It's probably not very many. I keep mine under my bed. But I don't want to talk too much about comics. I'm probably going to wrap up this stream. I'll answer this last question from June on. But thank you guys so much for coming through. Let's talk about this, though. EDHC is a way of getting folks on down years with mileage. What are the chances we pick up DK? I'm assuming this is Metcalf, and it works out. I think it's very low. I think DK is going to go for a lot. Like, I think people recognize, because DK's only been in the league since 2019. So 5 years in, yes, he didn't have his best year, but DK is going to make like 20 mil a year because he's such an athletic freak. So I highly doubt we go after DK. It would be much more likely that we pick up like Tyler Lockett. And I don't think we're doing that. I think we're set with our receivers. I assume we draft a receiver to be a wide receiver 3 in the draft, but like not round 1, probably not round 2, like maybe a guy in the 3rd round. We still have Tez Walker. We're going to see how he does. But then also if we draft another guy in the 3rd round to potentially be a wide receiver 3. And again, I haven't even started scouting. So like, I don't know for sure. But everyone, it's been just about an hour. Thank you all so much for coming through. Subscribe for more. I've been putting out daily content. And I've also been putting out shorts and TikTok, videos every single day. So thank you all so much. Subscribe for more. And I'll see all of you again tomorrow. And we'll see who the Ravens end up playing next week.